I am a EMBA candidate, cohort 134. Currently, I work at a hedge fund manager called Hudson Bay Capital. We are about $20 billion. The network in Kellogg is probably on par with all the best schools in the world.
Okay, Chin,
Hello,
I'm so happy to have you with my video blog.
it's my pleasure.
Thank you so much that you joined me today. I know we have very busy schedule, but we find time to do that.
Of course.
First, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So my name is Chuin. I am a EMBA candidate, cohort 134. Together with yourself and 60 others, this has been a great ride. We started here back in January 2023. Before EMBA, I'll go back to the beginning. Well, actually, I can go really, really far back or not so far back. But currently, I work at a hedge fund manager called Hudson Bay Capital. We are about $20 billion assets under management. 20 billion. So when I started there back in 2016, we were just under 3 billion. So I've seen it grow from 3 billion to 20 billion. I am an assistant fund controller. So what that means is that I oversee the integrity of the financial reporting and books and records of our company. I have a lot of product knowledge of stocks, bonds, derivatives, options, all that stuff, as well as a pretty good knowledge of the accounting system, GAAP reporting, and basically the hedge fund and asset management industry. I am a CPA in New York. I also am a CFA candidate, so I failed level 3, so I'll be taking level 3 again later this year. But I am, really into the financial services industry. On the side, I have 2 side businesses. One is together with my wife, Faye and I, we have a photo booth rental company, which is a lot of fun. It's not huge revenue maker, but it's just something that we do on the side. And I also have a Singaporean cafe concept, which I do together with my sister and my family.
Wow.
And this is probably the slightly bigger of the 2 side hustles. This one is trying to promote Singaporean cafe culture or Singapore kopitiam culture in New York. So I'm from New York, and right now we are just trying to grow organically, trying to build brand awareness, product awareness, and trying to ambassador our food culture. And we do pop-ups. So right now our main pop-up is the Queen's Night Market, Saturday nights in New York City. And it's a lot of fun, and we get really good exposure there. So,
tell a little bit more about details, because a lot of people love hedge funds, everyone wants billion, succession, and all this stuff.
Yes.
Even in our cohort, a lot of people want to be in finance.
Sure.
But not everyone understands. It's not that like in a movie. Tell us more about how this works. You have people who invest in your hedge fund.
Yes.
And you after that don't promise, but you try to get for them some revenue in the end of the year.
Absolutely. So many hedge funds, many asset managers, they have different strategies, and there's long short equity, there's merger arbitrage, there's fixed income, credit funds. So the number of strategies, there's many of them. What hedge funds do is they bring in investor capital, and what we're trying to do is we use, at least in our firm, we use skill-based investing, skill-based trading in order to make an absolute return in most market conditions, ideally every market condition. So particularly in our firm, we try to get absolute alpha, which means that it's all skill-based, right? Mm-hmm. So what we learned in finance class, there's going along with the market and trying to get a beta return, or trying to
below the risk.
Yes, exactly. And then there's also skill-based, which is alpha. So in our firm, we bring in a lot of investor capital from pensions, from endowments, big institutions, and these are these are investors who do not want to tolerate, they don't want risk. They don't want to have a negative return because it's pension money that is at stake. So when the S&P is great, like 20%, 30% a year, we might return like 15%. Okay, but like when the S&P is down, right, we can make a return still, which is, it's something that many investors want to preserve. They want to preserve the capital and have some reasonable growth. So so like when you mentioned Billions, obviously Billions is a TV show, a lot of drama, a lot of action, and sometimes it can be like that because sometimes like in a hedge fund world, you're working on some deals that are going to make headlines. Like you'll work on a deal or you'll be part of a deal, and then like next week it's on a Wall Street Journal and it's exciting. It's very fast paced. You have to think fast. Sometimes you have to put in a lot of hours. Yes, you need to know some finance, but more important than finance is, I think, a lot of hedge funds and asset managers, they hire people that know how to think, and you have to be like a problem solver. You have to like be able to connect the dots and just know how to interpret things really well. Because like a lot of people think that like you need to have like a finance degree to be in a hedge fund. You don't. It helps, but if you know how to think, the finance can be taught later on. You can learn the math, you can learn the equations, you can learn the products. That can all be taught, but no one can teach you how to think.
Yeah.
So anecdotally, I know of another firm where they hired a former NHL hockey player because it was, he didn't know.
Critical thinking, fast decisions.
Exactly, can make decisions under pressure, right? So like I said, it's a fast-paced environment, a lot of pressure. You're investing other people's money, so like you have to have the highest probability of making the best decision in a short amount of time.
Yeah. What about people who like and watch Billions? It's this TV show. They make this show in a Chuin office.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah. Because it's like this TV show like bring a lot of people to finance probably, and in our group like a lot of people interested about that. Tell me about little bit. We spoke yesterday about Singapore.
Yes. So I am a Singapore citizen. I was born in Singapore. I came here I came to the United States when I was 4.
We read the same book, From Third World to First World. It's about Lee Kuan Yew.
Correct.
Great political person and great, just great person.
Great figure in history.
Yeah, it's a great person.
Absolutely. So definitely, I appreciate a lot of his work and what he has done for the world as well as Singapore. I think that Singapore is one of the places where a lot of the world can learn from. Just because Singapore is such a small island, but it was able to be very efficient and have a really good system to benefit like majority of population. And it's like a tiny microcosm, but if you dig deep and you look at like why the things work the way they are in Singapore, it is actually pretty interesting, especially for like someone who, myself, I'm from there, but I've lived in a different country, so I kind of see the parallels between Singapore and the US, business-wise, culture-wise, and just like people-wise. And having been from Singapore, I'm a citizen. As I mentioned, I did go back to Singapore to serve the military, so that's like one of the requirements for all the men in Singapore, 18 and above. It was a great time. I mentioned to you yesterday, it's if you're positive and open-minded, it can be a great learning process, and there are skills that you can learn in that type of environment. And it may not a lot of people criticize that like it's a waste of time, but like there's still underlying skills that you learn from a military environment, and leadership qualities, just resilience, human resilience, like just be able to take on difficult tasks and be tired, sleep deprived, hungry, and you still have to persevere. So like
unfragile. You become like unfragile. You more strong through the stressful situation.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I'm so about Singapore always because we spoke yesterday a little bit. We in the same group. small group. Like we have 6 people, and me and Chuin in the same group. Singapore had a lot of enemies around, and was a small country, and they developed strong economy, military, and I think my dream one day Ukraine will be similar to Singapore. Why are you here? Why in this program? What is the goal?
So when I applied to Kellogg, one of my I had 2 paths. I wanted to get from EMBA, from Kellogg, first rigorous academic curriculum, learn from some of the best professors in the industry, in the world, right? Like these are world-renowned professors. They've written books, they've written case studies, they've written articles, and are just experts in their field. So it's an honor to be in Kellogg to learn from these professors. 2 is the alumni. The network in Kellogg is probably on par with all the best schools in the world, and you have a lot of great minds that come here. I know Chicago, Evanston is a little bit far from New York, but it's worth the flight every other week just to be here and bump heads with people like yourself and our group mates, our cohort mates, our school mates, so other students from other cohorts and faculty. So that is something that I'm getting from Kellogg. So like the alumni, the academics, and I think that like with a Kellogg degree, what I want to get from this is one of 2 paths. I can use the knowledge and the network to propel my current role. So if I were to become like a CFO or COO one day, all right, I think having been through the Kellogg program will definitely benefit me in that regards. 2, if I pursue an entrepreneurial route, if let's say I take one of my side businesses, they're small right now, but like with what I learned in like marketing class, in Uzi's leadership class, I might be able to reframe the way I'm thinking and say, hey, maybe these businesses are actually very, very viable. I can figure out my proposition, I can figure out my segment, and take one of these side businesses to the next level, and maybe that will be the path I take.
It's small, you said small, like it's never happened something become a big right away, right?
Correct.
It's step by step, long process. Like, a lot of people in our cohort wants to be also a businessman and make own business, own brand. And yeah, you will see, but it's always passion, positivity, and just big dream.
Exactly, big dream.
Yeah, it's goal, and you will step by step, you will do it. Yeah, because usually people think, okay, Starbucks, like because you have coffee shop, right? Coffee business, and they were like, okay, Starbucks was huge, right? But I read his book, Schultz, the CEO, he came back again to be a CEO of the Starbucks. His long story is not was like so fast. Or Walmart. Walmart has only 1 store in the beginning, like for 10 years.
Right.
And second store he just opened after like many years. But people always see, like today we talk in the marketing class, he said like, we know what was successful, but we never see what was unsuccessful.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And okay, let's talk about what is your favorite moment in this program.
Favorite moment?
Yeah.
Okay. I definitely want to say there's many favorite moments. Key Supporter Weekend definitely is one of my favorite moments because my wife Faye has been able to join us, and she's able to see all the great people I've met, and I'm able to introduce her, and I'm very proud when I'm introducing her to all my classmates. Like, you need to meet this person, you need to meet that person, this is my group. And it gives me a lot of pride to be able to do that. And especially like when we're at home and I'm always describing things and it's very abstract for her at home, but now she sees it in person. So definitely this weekend has been one of my favorite moments. I would say two is our leadership class. Brian Uzi's leadership class has been hands down my favorite class out of every class.
I love it too.
Marketing is marketing, finance is finance, statistics, but like leadership is something that it's not like available in undergrad. So this was completely new to me, just this way of thinking. And I probably would say like every moment of that class was like receiving liquid gold. And but that's the class in general. After that, I think like our launch week was pretty memorable. Launch week was when we all met in person for the first time as a cohort together in beautiful Miami, and everything was new to us. Many of us have not been in school for like years, and all of a sudden we're just like thrown into a classroom and like here's a case study.
You know what I remember when we sit downstairs on the first floor and I asked what is your name and you said like Chuin. Like sorry, I didn't hear it because it was on another side of the table and you're like Chuin.
Yes.
Remember that?
It's always feel like that is the easiest way to get people to remember.
It's cool. What about your hobby? I know you like to run.
I do like to run. I used to run a couple half marathons. I ran one marathon.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Well, I'm not great. I'm not a fast runner.
No, I'm not too.
I think like
I didn't know you like it.
At my peak, I was maybe like a 10-minute mile runner. So like not fast, but like I was able to finish, and that was just my goal. Like finish, don't get injured, and you know, and then that's that. Hobbies. Before the pandemic, I used to train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So like I'm a purple belt. I've been yeah, it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy. I've done like other martial arts in the past, like kickboxing, karate, but I really like Jiu-Jitsu because for me it's like a physical chess game. And Jiu-Jitsu is not about like how hard you can punch someone in the face or how hard you can kick someone. It's about trying to use leverage, science, and physics to overpower a stronger opponent. So you know, in Jiu-Jitsu class, I remember like rolling with people who were like 200 pounds. Like, you know, I'm like 150, right? So like 200 pounds is a huge advantage on top of me. But if I can use speed and agility and just some like, you know, some technique, I can control the situation. And that has been something that has been that resonated in my life. Like you use technique, you use precision, and you can control your environment. So, and on the flip side, I've rolled with people who are smaller than me. So I remember there was we had a guest student from Ireland, female, and this young lady was probably 90 pounds. So I had like, you know, 50 pounds on her, and yet she threw me around like a doll. Like I tried hard to use my weight and size on her, but she would just like destroy me. So like it's very humbling.
It's very interesting. You do see, I don't know a lot of stuff. After half year, your hobbies and other things. Very interesting. What would you like to tell young people? Like, you know, a lot of people doesn't know what does it mean executive MBA or just MBA. And let's talk about executive MBA.
Sure.
You recommend them and like what to do for them, right?
Okay. So one of the big things about the executive MBA, at least for Kellogg, is that there's not an emphasis on grades. So there's like the low pass, pass, and high pass. And the emphasis here is to actually learn, because for executive MBA students, we've been through, I think the average was like 14 years of work experience for our cohort. So, you know, people like us that have been through, you know, at least 10 to 15 years of work, we know, we have experience of like what worked, what didn't work, what we need to improve on. And when we're here, we're trying to fill in the gaps and enhance ourselves, right? We're not trying to like, I mean, some of us are trying to like switch new careers. That's fine. But like students here benefit the most when they already have a decent amount of self-awareness and they have a goal, purpose, and vision, and they're able to actually utilize all the teachings and all the learnings in this program to like get where they want to get. Regular MBA, like the regular full-time MBA, is mostly for people who are like, you know, a little bit younger, and they're trying to use the graduate business degree to switch careers. Like they were a physics major undergrad, but now they want to go into finance. So they get the MBA and they go switch to finance.
Tim, thank you so much for the conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.